Hey guys, welcome back to L&D Home, and if you're new, welcome to our channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing some small little home projects, updating, organizing, just all of those things. And we're going to be starting here in my craft room. If you haven't seen my craft room yet, yes, it is not finished. It's a hot mess. Look at that wall there to the right. It just is what it is. And we just haven't been able to finish this room yet. But recently for Christmas, I did get a printer that I turned into a sublimation printer. I got a heat press, and I'm going to be doing some projects, hopefully working towards some 2025 goals, which I will share with you guys in a different video at some point. But for right now, I do need to get just a little bit more organized. I did completely redo this room, and I will have that video linked down below, but I am still missing some organization for some of my sublimation things and stuff that I have purchased since I got my printer. So I am just starting off by hanging up this shelf. I got this from Menards. I already had the anchors for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I had the anchors already. And I'm going to be using the tiniest of drill bits because I'm drilling straight into the studs here, but I don't want to use anything too large because well, these studs are important. So I'm drilling straight into them. So I'm obviously not going to be using anchors or anything, but I wanted a very small drill bit so that I could make sure that I didn't split the wood or anything. I'm just using just the screws that I had in my stash, and I'm going to be hanging up these brackets, and then I'm going to be placing a shelf just on top. I am not screwing the shelf into the brackets. I guess I could for safety, but I'm the only one that ever comes in here, and I'm the only one that's going to be using this space. So I'm just going to be setting that shelf right on top. As you did see, I did use my level to make sure that everything was nice and level and nothing was going to be tilting or weird. And this is just going to help me use some of that vertical space in this room for some of the items that I'm going to be putting on top. So I'm really trying to utilize as much vertical space as I possibly can. Because if you've seen any of my videos in this craft room, it is very, very small. So I need all of that vertical space. I purchased 2 of these from the Target dollar spot. They were $5 each, I believe. And I just thought that they were super cute, and they would allow me to have easy access to some of my sublimation blanks that I'm going to be putting inside. I'm not 100% sure that I love this storage system because they're supposed to be stackable, but I can't stack them because the ceiling is there. But they are working for now, and they are really cute if you want to pick them up, and they're still in your Target dollar spot. I had a leftover little shelf when I put up my daughter's shelves that I got her for Christmas. It was actually after Christmas. She got a ton of Lego sets, and she needed more space to display them after she builds them. So I had this leftover shelf that just did not fit in her space. So I'm going to be putting it right here. This was a little bit tricky to kind of figure out where to put it because of how the studs were and the door frames right there. And there was a metal part holding the door frame on. It was a little bit tricky, and I also need a smaller level. This is the only level that we have that's actually working, that's not 17 years old and that's accurate. So I definitely need a smaller level though. I did not use anchors for this either. Obviously, since I'm going straight into the studs, I just used those screws. And for now, you're going to see me just put that picture, that St. Louis Cardinals picture. That is actually a sweatshirt that my late Uncle Bobby wore a lot. But I do end up changing that just later on my own. My son got me this label maker for Christmas, and I love it so much. You download the Printmaster app on your phone, and then you can just make your labels right on your phone. You can change the text. You can change the size. You do want to be kind of careful with the sizing because if you get it too big, it kind of prints wonky on the label, but you can center it. You can do all kinds of stuff with this label maker. It's really amazing. And you can print several of the same label. So in the garage, I didn't do it on camera, but I did label our bins with these smaller labels as opposed to the big, huge ones I had. So I was just able to make a label that said Christmas, and I could just print 10, 11, 12, however many I needed. I could print them and they would just all print out. So I will have this label maker linked below because it is from Amazon if you are interested. It is a game changer in spaces like this where you need to stay organized or you have smaller, large totes stacked up and you don't want really obnoxious size labels, but you do need to know what is in everything. So highly recommend this label maker, and it was not too expensive. I think it was $20 or something. So here are my labels, and we are just going to work on putting those labels on some of the containers I already had. When I redid this craft room, again, that video will be linked down below, I used containers that I already had and I got rid of a ton of stuff. But I am thinking that I want some different containers that I can actually stack in here, just because I think it would be a better use of my space and I would be able to utilize more of these cubbies in a more efficient way. Sticking with that vibe of organization, we are going to jump into the laundry room. If you are not new here, you know I absolutely hate our laundry room. It is just, look at it. It's something, ain't it? It is something, ain't it? But I put this shelf up and I did not film this. My son helped me with this. It was interesting. I had actually bought this for my classroom, didn't end up using it. So I went to Menards and I just got these like little kind of, they're not anchors. I don't remember what they're called, guys. If I can find them, I'll link them down below. But I just kind of screwed 2 of them into the wall with anchors. And then I have just this 1 foot on this board right here. The other one's just a hang-in. I don't plan on putting anything heavy on here, so I was okay with it. I picked up this adorable little laundry tub at Target in their dollar spot section, and that's where I'm going to be keeping all of my laundry pods. I just needed a better like storage system. I have the little cart that you guys have seen in a previous video next to the washer, but I needed something that was a little bit easier to reach all of the things, because the top thing of the cart's easy to reach, but all of this stuff on the other 2 levels isn't quite as easy to kind of get my hands on. So I'm going to be working on taking some stuff off of this cart, putting it up on those shelves, and then anything that I have extra that's like refills and stuff like that, like my baking powder refills, my like Tide refills, all of that stuff is going to go on the bottom 2 levels of this little cart thing. I got this from IKEA, so I will have it linked down below. I do love it for a small space. I do just wish it was a little bit taller. There's not a lot of room to like move around in this laundry room for me to be like bending and pulling stuff off of this. So I wanted to have stuff just more easily accessible where I could reach it. I'm just doing a quick clean. Honestly, I'm using a dryer sheet. I'm just doing a quick dust because it was looking a little rough. So just a dryer sheet and, you know, just wiping everything down. This space is not beautiful and gorgeous, so I'm not worried about like a deep scrub in here. And I've been keeping it pretty clean since my original like, oh my God, this place is a disaster video, which I will have linked for you. It is definitely a cleaning motivation watch if you're interested. I wanted to change this lampshade up. I got this at Hobby Lobby. I think it was like $6 or something. I just wanted it to be a little bit brighter in here because this is such like a dark, dreary space. That other shade was just casting a little bit. It wasn't bright enough. I also wanted a smaller shade because that shade was like way too big and it was kind of in my way. So I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to set this lamp because there's no like place to hang lighting or set anything. So I just wanted it to look a little bit better in here. And I have actually been utilizing this system for a little bit of time now because I filmed this about 2 weeks ago or so. And I am loving this new system. I like having the shelf up here. The lamp is not in my way anymore, but it's giving me the light that I really need. And this is actually working out really well for me considering that this space is just so small and so narrow. Not pretty at all. It's definitely working a lot better for me. We're now going to be jumping up to the master bedroom. This absolute hot mess right here. We had, I think it was like cable people over. I don't know. Somebody was over and we had to put Bella Marie up here. And she was not a fan. Not a fan of being in this room because she is a spoiled little princess. She's not kenneled or anything. But it was one of those situations where like, you can't have the dog out, you know, when you have the people come work on your cable or do whatever. It's like, please put your dogs up. Like, we don't want to be attacked by your dogs. Well, she scratched the living death out of this. Like, oh, it's so bad, guys. And I've been looking at this for months and just am now getting around to doing it. Now, I'm going to be quite frank with you. Okay, we're going to have to replace this trim. She gouged into this trim with her nails so feverishly that it's not even like repairable. Like I thought about getting some like putty out and I was like, yeah, I don't even know if that's going to do the job. So honestly, we're doing one of those quick fixes. And sometimes I think that's okay. Like we do share home projects and stuff here on the channel. You know, we do outside projects and we paint and we build things and we do all that stuff. And that is absolutely great to have a home that's just beautiful and wonderful and perfect, but that's not always the case. And that's not always logical. This fix that I'm doing right here is just like, let's get it to not look so atrocious. So I literally just sanded it smooth a little bit, and I'm taking some of the trim paint. I will have it linked down below. I love this trim paint. And I'm giving it a coat so that when I leave my bedroom, I don't have to look at this giant brown gouge mark in my trim. Eventually, we're going to have to probably replace this whole piece of trim because it is so bad. Like, if you can see as I'm painting it, the divots, the crannies, it's not great. But sometimes I think it's okay to just kind of do something kind of like, half butt a little bit to make it just like work for you for right now until you can get to actually replacing it or doing the full project. So that's really what we're doing right here is we're just trying to make it look a little bit more bearable for the eye, and not so like intense. Now, since the door is not exactly like super clean. Like it's not dirty, but like it's not freshly painted. I did have to kind of feather the paint in a little bit like on the door because you could definitely tell when I first started painting that like, oh wow, yeah, that's really bright because it's a fresh coat of paint. I'm not painting the whole door. I don't have time for that. So I just tried to feather the paint in a little bit so it wasn't quite as obvious. And, from the naked eye when you're standing back, it looks so much better, right? Like it almost looks like nothing happened. Obviously, when you get up close, it most definitely looks like something happened. But it's so much better that it's not like an eyesore anymore. And that was really my point of this project for this day, was not to like, redo the trim and redo a whole thing, but really to make it look less of an eyesore and have it look just normal. Like she didn't completely destroy our bedroom door. For our last project in today's video, we are going to be jumping into the kitchen. Now, you guys have seen me in the kitchen before. It was so bright in here on this day, I guess with all the snow and like the light reflecting, but there's going to be a lot of like bright spots and shadows, and I couldn't really do anything about it, honestly. I mean, I guess I could have shut the curtains, but I like it bright. You can see this gap right here. If you can't, I'm about to stick my hand under there and wave my fingers. This, I don't know what happened. Well, I did figure out what happened, but I was very confused because it just like all of a sudden happened. This drawer has given us so many troubles. I fixed this drawer in a previous video. It was not the same part that's broken now. It was a different part of the drawer, and I fixed it with clamps and a ton of wood glue. We're going to go back to that same thing, and we're going to use that same technique today. This is another one of those projects where, you know what? It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be a complete overall, but it's going to make things function, and it's going to be kind of like a quick fix. Eventually, I have a feeling that we're going to have to replace this entire drawer. Like it's so bad. The other drawers are not doing this. My thinking is because we use this drawer the most. Like this is where all of our like measuring stuff is, our can opener, our pizza cutter, our straws, our forks and knives and all of that stuff. Well, here's what happened. Don't ask me how. I have no idea how this happened. It completely split. So we're going to be using a ton of wood glue to fix this today. Like I said, eventually we're probably going to have to replace this entire drawer, just buy a new one, take the like faceplate off and put it on the new drawer. But we don't have money or time for that right now. So right now we're just doing this quick fix so that the whole drawer doesn't go like falling apart when we used it. So I'm just taking wood glue, and I'm going to grab like a little paintbrush that I had in my stash. And I'm just going to kind of like work that wood glue into these splits and like these little like nooks and crannies on both sides. Obviously, I used a lot more wood glue on that other side that I haven't touched yet, the one I'm about to work on right now. And I'm just trying to get as much bond as I can and as much wood glue in there as I can so it will hold up until hopefully this summer I can get around to actually like replacing this drawer and like getting a new one. But for now, like I said, quick fix. I was hoping that these little clamps that I have from Dollar Tree were going to be all that I needed, but it turns out I had to pull out the big boys from the garage. So I use those little clamps just to kind of help like squeeze that crack closed, but I use the big clamps to kind of put more pressure to make sure it actually really dried in place. I will say, when I took these clamps off, there were some creaking noises going on. Okay, I don't know how long the drawer is going to hold up. I am not confident, okay? But I just wanted it to last me a few more months, just a few more months until I can actually get around to replacing the whole thing. I did let this dry for a few days. Like it sat there for probably like 3 or 4 days all of our stuff was on the counter. It was really bothering me, but I wanted to make sure it was like nice and cured, nice and dry, like all the wood glue had had a chance to dry like throughout the entirety of it, because I did use so much, especially on this side. I didn't want to take the clamps off too soon and not have it like really be a nice hard bonded surface. So once I removed all of the clamps, then it was time to put all of our stuff back in the drawer because, quite frankly, I was tired of having everything just all over the counter. Like, look at this, looks so bad. It looks so bad. You can tell me in the comments below it looks so bad. I know it looks terrible, but you know what? We're just functioning right here for now. Like I don't even know what this spot was about. I mean, it looked hard, like it was together, but it I know it looks bad, guys, but you know, we're surviving with this silly kitchen drawer. So I put everything back in because I was tired of having everything on the counter. It was driving me insane to have everything on the counter. And so far, it has held up. It's only been like a few days since I finished this project, but so far, so good. Maybe we just need to be more careful with the drawer, which, you know, probably isn't going to happen. But for now, it's holding up just fine. And nothing else has fallen apart. So, you know, knock on wood, cross your fingers for us that we don't have to put any more wood glue on this godforsaken drawer, because I am definitely over this drawer for sure. And this is the last project in our video. So thank you for sticking around with us and watching this. I'm just going to wipe off the front because the clamps did kind of leave like a little bit of smudge going on the front of the drawer. So I'm just wiping off those smudges, and then that's it. We're going to wrap it up. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you found it helpful or at least entertaining, and maybe you got some quick fix ideas you can use in your own home. Make sure you check out the video and the playlist on the screen. And as always, smash that subscribe button so you can become part of our YouTube family. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.